So I've been pondering for a while. What I've been pondering about is why are games with a certain political agenda also terrible games? And I'm talking about my actual gameplay experience, right? So you can find thousands of videos discussing this topic I'm going to now, right? From the more, said, cultural standpoint, right? But this video here, guys, I will try to explain it to you from a mechanical standpoint, an actual game standpoint. Like, why are the games these people make also terrible? So, in a very basic way to look at it, I feel this because real game developers, they read game theory, right? They read stuff like this, theory of games and economy. They are not reading stuff like this, right? Who's Afraid of Gender by Judith Butler. Instead, they are reading von Neumann. People that really love games, right? They see an Excel sheet. Oh, an Excel sheet? Oh, yeah. Basically, cute animals are cute, right? Don't get me wrong. But to be a real, I feel, hardcore game developer, you should enjoy the cuteness of an Excel sheet more than. So in this video here, guys, I thought I'd explain why this game is terrible, right? And I really mean it because I find it fascinating. We've seen it for several years, right? How games like Forspoken are just terrible games. And again, I really want to stress this point here that basically, like, Vogue games are all terrible, not because they're Vogue, but they actually are like terrible games, like game mechanic wise. Like every Vogue game fails, right? And to the contrary point, every time you see a game like Stellar Blade or something similar, they seem to actually be pretty good games, and that fascinates me. Right? So I could make another video saying that, oh, you know, Sweet Baby Inc. is the hate Akira Toriyama, or, you know, Kotaku wrote that, I don't know, all white people should die or something crazy, right? Like the seriously, yeah, like, you know, they're crazy, right? Like, but I really hope you like me to hear, honestly, because there are 5,000 other YouTubers, Twitch, whatever, they're talking about all the cultural war and this and that, so on. But I am a hardcore game developer, right? I like math, I'm an engineer, I'm a scientist. I like to think about more as like, what is the actual inherent issue, right? Like, why do these people, like a better word, the Vogue people, why do they fail, right? Why does every game they make fail, right? And I think that I saw in the earlier video is the reason why, right? They don't actually like video games. I mean, the obvious general issue is that they don't even love video games. And I really mean it, right? So, think about it this way. I like Excel sheets, right, you know? I made 7 games in my life. I like the balance sheet stuff. I like to look at the math, right? I think about all these numbers. I love games like, for example, Unicorn Overlord, bunch of different characters, tiers, so many different stuff. You know, I like making tier lists, right? And that's because I like the mechanics of it, right? I like both the mechanics from, like, what's a debuff, what is a buff, what is healing, DPS, dots, and so on, right? But I also like it from an actual purely, like, mathematical standpoint. And of course I also love all the stuff like, you know, spreadsheets in like stock trading and so on as well, right? You know, kind of goes hand in hand. But I think just honestly the biggest issue, right? And the first point on why this game sucks, right? Forspoken and so on, why they're all terrible, is because these people, they don't concern themselves with actual game mechanics. And what I mean with that, and it might sound so obvious, yeah, of course you don't, it's like, no, but I mean, like, think about it. If you spend all this time, right, sitting on Twit or whatever, but I mean honestly, right? Because I met people. I will give you some experience here from having worked in the industry, right? I met certain people that I would never hire, right? Or I, you know, rejected them and they tried to apply or whatever, or have the unfortunate that they're already working and so on. But, you know, in different situations, and it is very easy, honestly. It's very, very easy to know when, okay, you're a terrible, like, I don't want to hire you, right? Because you should work in the game industry. It's very easy to find people that actually love games and people that just want to be in the industry for every reason, right? And I'm working on a video, but when especially when it comes to localization, which is known to be very, you know, censoring and so on, right? That's probably the biggest, most obvious issue, because localizers in the game industry, no one wants to do it. Okay, I have worked with localization for many games. I localize, for example, I localize Call of Duty Black Ops 2 to Japanese and Russian, so on, right? For example, so localization, and basically no one wants to work there, right? No one wants to be a QA tester, and even less to say I want to be a localization, right? So the reason, of course, that all these localization people are terrible at the jobs in the walk or whatever, because no one actually wants that job, right? Basically, no one. Everyone actually wants to be the game designer or the producer or whatever. No one wants to have those jobs, okay? So it's just basically it's at the bottom people, right? That either has the first job after school, and then it's fine, or they can't get a better job, right? Because they have no skills, right? Then they up localizing games. I mean, seriously, that's why. So this is making me on video, but that's basically it, right? But when it comes to the general sense of, I think, why these woke games, to speak, are just terrible, it's just because these people are not thinking about game mechanics, right? And I mean it because I dream about game mechanics. Right? I sit all day long and I'm like, Excel sheet, baby! I see this stuff and I get excited. I'm like, oh yeah, this is gonna be fun, man. Look at the graph, look at its value. Maybe I can make a macro. I can make a script, I can collect this thing. Like, I see this stuff and I get excited, right? I see stuff, this makes me excited, right? I'm not spending my time, reading about gender politics or that thing or what's woke with Trump and Hillary. I don't care because I actually care about the game. Now that being said, of course you can have all the interests, you can be a game developer and care about again the politics. But I think my main point, right, why Forspoken similar games are always so terrible is because people working on these games, they're so focused on this thing, they're focused on the message, right, their agenda, whatever it is, right, rather than making a good game. And you don't see it as much, I guess, with the right politics, but it's the same thing we should do, right, If you make a video game and everyone like super right-wing, and they only care about making that message be told, right, they're gonna not care about too much of the mechanics, the characterization, the level system, development or whatever, the level design. You have to actually love that. And I think that's like a super obvious issue. So that's kind of my best conclusion why these games, why the woke games always suck. Because the people working on these games actually doesn't like video games, right? That's the most primary thing. And I think it's always fun, especially with Sweet Baby Inc. thing. And again, I can talk about all the racism, whatever, and how they hate like a drama and so on. But at the end of the day, right, these people don't like video games, right? They just want to rewrite the video games because of their agenda. I mean, honestly, for me, like, not to be that guy, but almost anyone that care about the narration is probably not a good, developer or whatnot, right? Because I feel very few people have their main goal of like, I want to be a video game writer, right? I don't trust video game writers in general. So that's just a writer that couldn't get them to write a movie or book, right? I mean, I have very low faith. I thought about it on the video, my experience with writers, generally speaking. So that kind of says itself, right? So that's the second factor. They don't even love games to begin with, right? But now, so that's the experience where I think that woke video games fails, right? So last year, I was gonna hire these like people for developer positions. And I had a meeting then with 4 people in one day. Day after Zelda Tears of the Kingdom was released. And I always ask people in interviews, what game are you currently playing? But I'm interviewed, now I'm interviewing people, right? And none of them were playing Zelda. So I was like, get it out, that's the door, okay? I was like, get out! I'm gonna hire any one of you, okay? No, but seriously, I was like, you're all, like, I can't work with you people, right? And I genuinely mean it, right? Because I'm not saying this is the greatest game of all time. But certainly one of the best game last year and very hyped since its previous release, right? And I'm only interested in hiring people that actually care about the games, right? All of the game with these bad, terrible answers like, oh no, but this thing with that, no, I played it. Screw that, okay? The big games without, you gotta play it, right? And the reason I say that even more, to be a good game developer, you have to play games you don't actually like. But you have to understand the current market, right? You have to understand mechanics and so on. So for me, I was agitated talking to 40 people, and all of them were like, oh, no one of them care about Zelda, right? Some people were like, oh, whatever, so on. I said, no, it's a terrible idea. And a few years before this thing, I was talking to my coworkers that I started playing a lot of Fortnite, right? This was Fortnite was new, basically, so, this is many years ago, right? So I was playing Fortnite a lot, right, for like 48 hours when it was new, and I don't even like the genre that much, okay? So people asking me, oh, it's for kids, and I got all this, like, blah, 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 right, from my coworkers. And I was like, this is why I am the lead game designer, and this is why you are the coder, right? And I was like, no, this is why I am the creative guy, and you are the coder. Not for being a coder, but I was like, no, because I spend time playing a game I don't even like it much. But I'm playing it because it's currently the most popular game right now. Fortnite was super massive, right? So I kept playing this game because it was incredibly successful, selling so much money, right? So I was like, I have to understand what people love about this game, Always understand the general genre, but I have to play it more to understand why everyone loves it, right? That's a true game designer. True game designer is to understand why a game is good, even if you hate it, right? If you can play a game, if you can explain to me, this is what I'm playing this game for, even though I dislike everything in it, but this is perfectly why I like it, then I'm like, you know what? Okay, this person I want to hire, right? And honestly, I said earlier, I always ask people, what's your favorite game, right? What's the game you're currently playing? When I interview them. And yeah, I would expect them to have really little answers, right? Because I would tell you, okay, they're gonna be like, oh, my favorite game is StarCraft. Okay, tell me why it's a game. And I expect it to be like a long, explain it to me in detail, right? And why I like it, right? Currently and so on, right? Because I want to have that, right? And this is honestly, my biggest tip for you, right? If you want to get a job in the game industry, if someone asks you that question, like what's your favorite game, what game are you currently playing? If you tell them that I'm currently playing, say, Fortnite, even though I hate it, but I'm playing it because I want to understand the game mechanics and blah 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 and so on, then that's an actual impressive answer. I'm playing something that I despise myself because I want to understand it from a mechanical level. It's like, okay, that's really good. So you're playing games not only because in your enjoyment, right? But that's because you want to like understand and learn something. You know what I mean? And that's a very very different thing, right? And that's they're also people I always look for when I'm trying to hire someone. I'm like, that's the guy I want. So I hope that kind of explains where I'm coming from, because it's really easy actually to spot who isn't actually really into it. You know what I mean? And you don't want to hire someone that really isn't into it. And just to point out here, right? I'm not just saying that, oh, if they're woke, terrible, or whatever. I'm saying that from like a grand aspect, right? First of all, you want to figure out, generally speaking, if they're into games or not, right? So to speak, right? Like what you're playing, and are you playing games to learn and so on, right? But secondly, people then that are driven by an agenda, right? For example, then Vogue or whatever. But also if you're super anti-Vogue or whatever, yeah, if you're driven by that thing, and that's why you want to make games or whatever, you're never going to make a good game, right? Because these people are driven by something that isn't actually about the game itself, you know what I mean? You can have a game with a storyline and it can explain whatever, why it's okay to be this thing or whatever, right? But you should be thinking on how to make a fun video game. And I think it kind of comes back to what I meant earlier with Stellar Blade. Like I said earlier, I do find it very fascinating that to me at least, the latest 10 or so years, every time you see a game like this, right, like Nier earlier or so on, it's gonna probably be a good game, because people that don't care about whatever, like political is what is left or right or up or down or whatever, people that don't care about like whatever is correctly wrong in the progressive mind, whatever, current year, right? People that say F all of that, right? They usually just make better games because they are caring about the gameplay, right? They're caring about the game mechanics. Where again, then the opposite, people that are super woke, they only care about being woke, right? And I feel this is how it is. And not to this build video itself, right? When it comes to like Kotaku and all those people that are writing and they go all this crazy rants on Twitter or whatever, right? I must hate white people and crazy like that. It's the same thing there, Like, if you actually, or rather, if you want to be like a game journalist, you probably should love video games, right? You probably spend most of your time complaining about video games. You know what I mean? No, but I would respect them, understand them, if they wrote like 25 tweets per day, only being like, oh, I hate this game, it's a terrible game, it should be bad, this thing, why is Shaman so weak, whatever, right? You know what I mean? And I think there's a big difference too, right? Because when I grew up, right, most game journalists was like that, They would write long essays in some magazine about why FF8 is better than FF7, right? They would spend like, they would spend like 40 hours writing an essay of like why this RPG is better than that RPG. If you don't agree, you're a noob, They would spend time like that, They would actually be nerding them down into that. And yeah, like the general industry right now for like the media stuff is just terrible, because it's all about just, oh, my agenda, that, my porting that, regardless if you left up and down. So no, it's all about that. And I really guys think this video is a little scatterbrained for me, because I didn't want to make a video yet. Like I said, right, I didn't want to make another video about like, oh, this is why here's another example of these people being racist or whatever, right? Like I said, there's so many other YouTubers that do that, right? I like my latest Trickster videos and T-list videos and so on, right? Which I kind of keep, keep more of that, of course. And I want to try, like I said, from a mechanical or like a personality standpoint, like why are these woke games, so to speak, why are they also terrible for, right? Why are they inherently bad for? Because they really are. And in the bottom line, right, I keep saying it, is that they aren't bad because they're woke, right, per se. They're bad because they're actual bad games. Like, they're boring. Yeah, they have bad game mechanics. Like, weird stuff going on, right? And I keep coming back to it. The more I look at it, and I look at all the people that their tweets and all this stuff, and I try to research people, and my own experience working with a lot of, people on different sides of political aisle, but in the game development. Yeah, the more people are activists, the less they're actually caring about the actual game, right? It's like they don't care about the actual thing you're producing, they care about something else. And that's probably a big no-no. Like I said earlier, right, the first thing I always look for people are, do you actually love games, So my questions are always like that, what game are you playing? what's your favorite game, similar to that, you know, what's your best childhood memory, what's the hardest boss you ever beat in the game, and so on, right? And I actually want, if you can't answer that, I never hire them. I never hire them. If you can't tell me, like, what's your hardest boss you ever beat in a game, right? Because if you're a real gamer or a real game designer, you know what games you play that hard bosses, right? And you know you can't tell me that, oh, it was like Bowser. No, you know I need a real answer. It was the, you know, I need a real, you know, millennial, I need a real answer, right? And I have definitely completely ignored to hire people, or even, or you know, whatever, fight or whatever, because they have terrible takes on that, right? So to speak. But it's really important, and you can extrapolate it to other stuff too, like general coding and so on too, or whatever, engineering generally. I made a video about that last year, but basically, right, you always want to find the people that are like into science stuff because they like science, not because they got forced into it. Where I mean with that is that usually you can find a lot of people at college that aren't in whatever they go to, let's say physics. They're not there because they love physics. They're there because they had no friends, everyone bullied them, which is being sad. But I mean, that's why they went, you know, become nerds, so to speak, and go with school grades because no one hanged out with them, right? The one you want to hire is the person that had 20 friends and everyone liked them, but they didn't go to the party anyway. You want to hire the guy that was invited to the party, but he went and said, sorry, but I want to study for my exam instead with the party. That's when you hire. You don't want to hire the guy that wasn't invited to the party, and that's why he studied, right? It's a big difference between the guy that rejected social stuff on purpose, yeah. But basically, you want to hire the guy that's like, he chose to become a nerd, not the guy that was forced to be a nerd, right? That's a very important thing. And I think that in today's market, then, especially in the West, you have a lot of people that are basically forced to be nerds, or they want to pretend to be nerds, right? Gamer girl kind of thing, that meme, and then they start hating stuff here, right? Because they don't actually care about the video game. They don't care about the core mechanics, the loops, what makes like video game fun, right? Because they never really got it, right? They don't have the deep love for the gaming. Like I said, right, the guy that decided to, I can be on this party, but I rather play video games. That guy, he gets games. He loves games, and he understands how a game is made to be good, right? He doesn't care about if the woman is hot or not. He doesn't care about if the gaming can is good or not. You know what I mean? But the guy that wasn't invited to the party, he doesn't get it anyway. He doesn't care about gaming either, right? And I think that's also an issue yes, because so many people today are into gaming, right? To say in the gaming culture, but it's not actually into gaming. They just had no other option, right? They're only into video games because they had no friends, right, so to speak. And I know it's not really sad, but honestly, that's a big truth to it, right? They're into video games or anime or whatever because they didn't have any choice, right, you know? And then they end up hating stuff like this, right? Because they are, you know, they're trying to find their way. They don't care about the actual product, right? But anyway, sad story. What do you guys think? I have no idea how to title this video, so give me a recommendation down here. I will try to come up with something sassy, and then I probably retitle this video like 10 times today or something, and the thumbnail will probably change 100 times too. So see you guys and have a great day.